Test, 1, 2, 1, 2. What's going on, team? It's Ricky with TechBud Solutions. Hope that you guys are all having an amazing Sunday. I have a very special guest for all of you guys and someone that's going to be breaking down the top 10 stocks for this upcoming week. It's going to be my baby mama and my girlfriend, her.
I'm not breaking them down. You can do that.
Yeah, but she's just going to be hanging around. I'm going to be breaking down any stock that you guys should literally just share in the live chat. So if there's any stock in any way that you see to be a good deal, if you want me to share my 2 cents on it, please don't be shy. Feel free to share your opinion or share your thoughts in the live chat, and I would be more than happy to break it down. But yeah, that's really just it. So if you guys ever want to tune on in, if you're not catching this live stream live, we host one of these every single Sunday at 6:30 p.m. So if you're tuning on in right now, make sure that you're typing in the live chat so I can say what's up to you. So we got Josie, we got Landon, Chase, Sherry, we got Oscar Gutierrez, what's going on? We got Brandon James, is it Family Fan? We got Zach's Money FAQs, what's going on? Sherry, Fabian, Fun Times with Vlad, what is that? VR32. So I think BBY is going to be a good deal. Also, I just joined LPP, and you got me good. Ricky, appreciate that. What's going on, Cameron? What's going on, Steven? What's up? What's up? I'm here from Mill SC. I like that. Dripsy. What's going on, Ricky? What's going on, SVT310? We got KJ in the house. Wi-Fi Boy. Boardwalk. We got Orlando Robinson with Boeing. All right. What's up? What's up? We got Jesus, Hunter, Alonzo, Jordan, Jeremy. All right, let's go ahead and get this started. Make sure that if you guys like any of the stocks that we break down in this video, hopefully you guys can drop a thumbs up and maybe consider subscribing. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start off with Boeing. So Boeing's actually a stock that I recently looked into, so that's funny that you brought that up, Orlando. Let's go ahead and break that down. So that's ticker symbol BA for those that haven't looked into Boeing. And it's not just Boeing itself, it's actually the entire airline industry. And I actually have a watch list. I have a big focus on airlines. I love paying attention to them as they've been an industry that have been very heavily negatively affected by COVID. And I have a nice little watch list. I would encourage you that if it's something that is of interest to you, you guys can see that I have Boeing right here. I have JETS, which is JATS. That is actually the airline ETF. ALK, which is Alaska Airline. We got SAVE for all of our, Spirit Airline people, right? I'm actually flying Spirit tomorrow. So
you don't have Frontier on there, your favorite airline?
No, they're not publicly traded. LUV, I don't even want to talk. I actually missed my flight today. So we got LUV as in Southwest. We got American Airlines, which is AAL. But yeah, let's go ahead and break down Boeing Airlines. So Boeing Airline, as of right now, like major airlines are being more bearish than they are bullish. So the great thing about this is that a lot of these airlines are very oversold. But a lot of you guys know this, that just because a stock is oversold doesn't mean that it's a good buy right now. It could still continue to sell off. It's very interesting to pay attention to it, especially because we're at price levels that we necessarily haven't been in a while. So if you look at Boeing for the past year, just a year ago, it was trading at much higher prices, right? And we can even take a further step back. We can go where every candle represents 1 week. And as of right now, so what I want you to take into consideration is that this huge drop that we experienced with Boeing was during COVID, right? When everything began to crash just because there was so much fear about we did not know what to expect or what's to come. And that's when it hit lows of $92. Right now, we're trading at $210. So we did make somewhat of a recovery to the SMA line to highs of around 280, but we have been pulling on back. I'm looking at the 4-hour time frame. I just wanted you guys to know that airlines in general are very cheap right now. So potentially, not saying for everyone, but potentially, this is of value or should be of interest for long-term investors. For people that are not trying to make quick money now, but don't mind putting money in certain areas that over time it can begin to recover. Because if you look at this on the day chart let's look at it on the week chart, right? With where we're at right now, and if Boeing were to make a recovery to previous pandemic conditions, it used to trade around, 350 on average? From where we're at right now, that's a 72% potential, upside margin take that into consideration in the sense of like, that's not at all-time highs. All-time highs is at 108%. We're talking about a median of $350, $360 a share. That's 70% potential from current price levels. That should just be like an eye-opener on like why you should pay attention to it. It's not that you have to buy right now, but it's why it should maybe be an industry that you just follow up with on a consistent basis. I don't expect airline industries to go anywhere. It's not that they have to recover right away, but it's that if we do begin to see indication of a recovery, people like you and I, because we're able to identify this opportunity, can then choose to take advantage of it. Do I view it to be the best deal right now? Definitely not. I could see it breaking its support level at $200 and continuing to sell off. It's trading below the SMA line. It's making lower highs and lower lows. It's bearish. So for day traders or short-term swing traders, is this the best stock to buy right now? Definitely not. But is this something for long-term investors or for people that want to take small positions and then add more once it begins to indicate signs of an uptrend? Then yeah, I feel like that would be more up your alley than versus day traders. Let me know what you guys think about that. Let's see. So BBBY. Okay, so that's Bed Bath and Beyond, if I'm not mistaken. So BBBY is Bed Bath and Beyond. Yeah. So let's go ahead and see where this one's at right now. So on the 4-hour time frame, again, I have a really big focus on direction. And when something is making lower highs and lower lows, I do agree with you. It is relatively pretty cheap, right? It has sold off quite a bit where it could begin to indicate signs of a reversal, just like it did right here, right? And then try to recover. But we're still not trading above the EMA line. As you can see, last time we got rejected right on over here. So as of right now, we're more bearish than bullish. I'm going to keep this one super simple and just set an alert. I'm going to set an alert for the break above 25.60. And if we get indication of recovery, then great. That direction is potentially in our favor. Until then, I'm not too worried to get into something that for the past couple of months has been making lower highs and lower lows. We always talk about this. Allow that opportunity to truly present itself. Don't force the entry, and it's obviously much easier said than done, but it is so, so important to take that into consideration before going all in. What I just realized is this video is unlisted. So it means that it's not public to everyone. It's just actually people that are. I was wondering why the engagement was a little bit lower. Well, I guess it's just going to be more for LPP members and TechWhat Solution members. Thank you, Orlando, for the breakdown. Of course. All right, so Zoom. Let's go ahead and check that one out. So we got ticker symbol ZM. Let me see if it allows me to make any of these changes. I can't believe I forgot to do that. Forgot to change it to public. Let's see if anything happens after I change it to public. Rookie mistake for sure. I was wondering, I was like, there's not that many people messaging right now. I'm not too sure why that's going on. Let's see if something happens. Let me know if it goes live or if it goes public versus unlisted. But yeah, this is ticker symbol ZM. So a lot of you guys might know this, but ticker symbol ZM, which is Zoom, did very well during pandemic conditions. It hit highs of nearly $600 a share. But if you take this into consideration, during when every other stock was crashing, right? During early 2020, every stock was crashing except for ZM because demand went through the roof as everyone had to begin to jump on Zoom meetings for school and for business, right? Due to pandemic conditions. We hit demand levels that we've never seen before for Zoom. And ever since then, it's been on a steady decline. But recently, it's been making this kind of trying to establish a support level around $300. I do agree with you. It does look a little bit more on the cheaper side. There is a lot of upside potential. But you know what I would hate? I would hate for us to be hopeful by the dip, think that it's going to recover, and then it actually breaks previous support levels at $270 and makes new lows. Understand that it's a possibility just as much as it is to recover. So because of that, I want to make sure that you guys are aware of that previous support level, that patterns tend to repeat themselves. They don't always have to. And that, of course, like Rachel says, we have to set our alert, right? So we have an alert here for the break above $310 a share. That's on the day chart, but on the 4-hour chart, you can see that even just due to recent earnings, right? It acted as a negative catalyst. It sold off, and it's been making lower highs and lower lows. Zoom was already cheap. Based off of previous highs, look at this. Zoom was already cheap at $335, and it still sold off. For all those that bought the dip on Zoom, it sold off an additional 13%. Oversold, or just because something sells off, does not mean that it can't continue to sell off. Make sure you take that into consideration, and that should always be a reason on why you hold back from forcing an entry. But I do agree, there is a lot of upside potential on Zoom. We're just going to have to follow up with it. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Yeah, it looks like it's public now. Okay, let me know if it's public, and if you guys are just joining us, welcome. We got ticker symbol AMD. So AMD, which is Advanced Micro Devices, is pretty much like the top competitor for Intel. They've actually blown through the roof with all competitors. They've actually if I'm not mistaken, have taken Intel's main spot. I think they're number one when it comes down to micro devices manufacturing. But on the overall day chart, is AMD a super cheap stock? Look at this, right? This is a big picture. This is for the past year of AMD. What are two things you can tell me right away about AMD? AMD is bullish, right? It's indicating signs of an uptrend. It's making higher highs and higher lows. And it's consistent, the way that it continues to indicate signs of an uptrend. Is AMD a cheap stock? Based off of where we're at right now and how we've been trading, is it cheap right now?
No.
Why would you say that it's not cheap?
Because it's closer to its higher highs.
Yeah, it's a little bit more on the overbought side than it is oversold. And looking at how much it's pushed up, it wouldn't be much of a surprise, just like almost every other time that it pushes up and it rallies, it corrects itself. It's healthy for a stock to correct itself. It's more scary when a stock pushes up, and never corrects itself. You're almost just anticipating or asking for a crash. But it's healthy to have correction from time to time because it allows itself to rebalance itself out. And that's essentially what I would be looking out for AMD. Do I view AMD to be cheap? No, but it's bullish. So I like that you're paying attention to that. On the 4-hour time frame, we are approaching the SMA line, but I wanted to show you the day chart. That although on the 4-hour time frame, it might look like it's at a potential support level, which it has been before, but on the day chart, it looks like it's about to pull back below EMA. So this is why it's so important to understand perspective. Something might look some certain way on a smaller or shorter time frame, but it's important to look at the larger time frame just so you are aware. You don't have to make a trade decision based off of every single time frame because then that would be counterproductive, but it never hurts to be aware of the overall big picture. So let's go ahead and break down another one. So the other one's going to be TQQQ. Do you know what TQQQ is?
I hear you talk about it.
Do you know what it is?
No. Is it the opposite of SQQQ?
Yep.
So so then it's going to go the direction of the market?
Yeah. So SQQQ is the inverse one, right? So TQQQ is the bullish one. So when the NASDAQ market goes up, this goes up. So if I were to ask you this versus this, if you were to have $1,000 and you were to put it into something, what would you put it into? And leave it for a longer period of time, right? You put it into that ETF and you leave it. Would you feel more comfortable putting it into SQQQ or TQQQ?
TQQQ.
Why?
Because it's showing signs of an uptrend.
It's more consistent, right? It's bullish, it's more consistent, and like we all know, if this thing follows the NASDAQ market, on average, the markets tend to grow at an average rate of 7 to 10% a year, right? So with that being said, the direction being in your favor, it being that consistent and it's bullish, then all we really have to wait for is for an opportunity to present itself. So this is why almost every single time the market pulls back, I get happy. While everyone else gets upset and they get mad. Well, no, I get happy because I'm able to buy the dip on something like TQQQ and then ride it up. And then once it becomes overbought, like where we're at right now, then this is when I start to take into consideration that hey, when it was trading at 180-day highs, am I really going to be surprised that now it's finally pulling back? No, because it was expected. If something rallies for a very good period of time, it's expected that it's going to peak and then correct itself like it does every single time. It peaks and then pulls back. It peaks and then pulls back. Corrections are healthy. It's not naive for you to prepare for it. It's better to prepare than to be surprised. And that's always what we like to say, right? So I like I like TQQQ. I would like to wait a little bit more for a pullback. You guys can see that on the 4-hour time frame. The SMA line tends to act as a support level, so I would wait for it to get closer to that price point.
Would you set an alarm for it to
an
pull
alert?
Back?
Yeah, so we can actually do that. I wouldn't set an alarm.
An alert.
I set an alarm to wake you up. I don't.
No, you never set alarms.
Okay. But yeah, I would set an alert for the break below 140. So it pulls back, and it doesn't have to hit 140. It's just a general reminder that, like, this is why we want to set effective alerts. So when it pulls back to that price point, I can be like, hey, I can revisit TQQQ and just be like, is this something that I want to buy right now?
Yeah.
And if not, then guess what? I don't have to do it, right? Alrighty. All right, next one is going to be CHPT. We got Alexander, CHPT. And if you guys are visiting us from somewhere else other than California or Arizona, that's where we're from, or where we're at, feel free to share it in the live chat. We'd love to see where you're tuning in from. So CHPT.
What is this?
So I've broken this one down before. Let's look at the day chart real quick. It does look cheap, but it looks like it pumps up for quite some time, and then it had a really nice pullback. It looks like it has had a previous support level at $20, so maybe that's why they're paying attention to it there, and then add a previous rally. But for us to hope that this happens again, is very hopeful, right? So what I can do here is I can set an alert for the break above 23. So if it actually begins to indicate signs of an uptrend, so it would have to begin to trade. That's crazy, right? Because the EMA on the day chart is pretty much what the SMA is on the 4-hour chart. So once this thing begins to trade above SMA, then great. I would love to follow up with CHPT and revisit it. But as you can see, it's been getting rejected by the SMA. Every time that it pushes up, it does not hold. Every time that it pushes up, it does not hold. Every time that it pushes up, it does not hold. So why would I want to buy the dip if it does not hold at those overbought levels? Why wouldn't I just rather wait for confirmation of a reversal and then begin to follow up with it? So that's essentially what I'm going to be doing. Alrighty. Arkansas, near west, actually. Oh, what's going on, Anthony? What's up? What's up from Utah? We got Braden. What's up? What's up? So what app do you use for stocks? What's going on, Alfredo? I use the Webull platform. You can refresh your screen, and it's actually in the description for you. So if you use the 3rd or 4th link in the description, it says earn 2 free stocks with Webull. I think 2 or 3 free stocks. If you sign up with them, you will, with that link down below, you will get and earn 3 free stocks. So just a little heads up. And again, that is provided for you down in the description. So BIDU, this is from Tyler. All right, let's go ahead and break this one down. BIDU. Okay, so 4-hour time frame. Lower highs and lower lows. Right away, I see that it's bearish. I see that it just recently came from oversold territory, so it was cheap. It pushed up just like it did last time, and then it sold off, and it looks like it's about to pull right on back, right? It looks like it's at the SMA line as a potential resistance, and it's about to pull right on back. So I view that more as a sell than I do a buy. And it's been peaking ever since, what was that? Earlier this year. So it looks like it did well during pandemic conditions. And then it's been selling off and correcting itself all the way back to previous levels. So that's a huge red flag for me. Just because it's done it during certain conditions doesn't mean that it ever has to recover. So because of that, I'm going to keep this one super simple. If this thing actually breaks above the SMA line, then great. I can revisit this. But until then, I don't care to buy the dip on a stock that for the past 7 months has been making lower highs and lower lows. If the direction overall is not in my favor, I'm not going to try to time the dips and hope that I can sell it for a recovery when the overall direction is not in my favor. It doesn't even look like it has a healthy amount of volume, and it's more bearish than it is bullish. And if you're someone that's just getting started, I feel like it's just going to be a little bit more difficult for you. So Carlos, no one's asked for us to do Apple.
I've seen it. And
where?
It's up higher.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
Who has anyone asked for us to break down Apple? Oh.
Let's see.
Lisa Apple from Savannah. Okay.
And they're coming out with new iPhones, so wouldn't that like
true.
do anything?
All right, we got Roku and Apple. Let's go ahead and break them down. I got smoked. Lisa, you smoked me. I was trying to make a point.
Scroll up higher. You'll see it.
All right, so we got Roku right now. A little bit more on the oversold side. Based off previous highs, $500. We've made a double top there, right? So you can see that based off of previous resistance levels, 480 to 500 tends to be a really common resistance level. So I see that we're a little bit more on the cheaper side. But on the 4-hour time frame, let's go ahead and check this out. I can see why you're paying attention to it. It looks very cheap, but it's still super, super bearish. So if I was looking at this and you were looking into potentially buying the dip, I would either do it with a very small position size because it could still sell off, or not do it at all. I actually already have my alerts here. I would like to follow up with it when it actually begins to indicate signs of an uptrend, but I do agree with you. It does tend to find a support at around $300, but we're still at $328. So that's still a 10% margin that it has to potentially lose before it retests that previous support level. I would love to see this thing begin to trade at 480, right? Because from 300 to 480, that would be huge margins. But we have no confirmation of that. We are now trading below the SMA line. We are now trading below the EMA line. The direction is not in our favor. So what does that mean? Does that mean that we have to stress out? Does that mean that we have to blindly buy the dip? No. If you see value in this and you like the opportunity, set those effective alerts, add it to your watch list, and hold yourself accountable. Stay disciplined and follow up with it when it makes sense. So I have my alerts set there, so I'd love to follow up with it. All right, let's go ahead and do Apple for my girlfriend. It's mad. All right, so like many of you guys know, Apple is going to be releasing their new iPhone. This is Apple on the day chart. Apple, very consistent, very bullish, one of the most valuable companies that's publicly traded in the market. Is it the most valuable company? I don't think it's. I think this thing beats Amazon. 2.55 trillion.
Wow.
Let's check it out. Let's compete. 1.76 trillion. And
Oh, wow. Is it?
it's Alphabet. 1.89 trillion.
Wow.
1.07 trillion. Sheesh. So yeah, Apple wins.
By double.
Yeah, 2.55 trillion, one of the largest market cap, if not the largest market cap for a publicly traded stock. I'll have to look a little bit more into it to see if that one actually is it. Let's see. But very consistent, very bullish. You can see that it hit highs of 157. It has recently traded below the EMA line on the day chart. So on the 4-hour time frame, it might actually look, it actually looks really good on the 4-hour time frame. Had a really nice pullback. This is as we're working towards them releasing their new iPhone. One of the things that I do have to say, based off of my understanding of Apple when they're about to release an iPhone, I do see them to sell off leading up to that and even after, and then they begin to recover. It almost happens like clockwork. Please make sure that you do your own due diligence and you look a little bit more into it. But almost every single time, every year, during this time of year as they release their new iPhone, there tends to be a little bit of a pullback in preparation. Maybe their expectation is set high. They release their new iPhone, there's a pullback, and then it begins to recover. So I really like it. I like where it's at on the 4-hour time frame. We'll have to see if it could sell off more. Would I buy the dip super aggressive? No. But would I be afraid to buy a couple of shares of Apple? Definitely not. So I'm going to start looking into it. I like where it sits on the 4-hour time frame. On the day chart, you can see that it still has a little bit more margin. So I'm at least happy that we're able to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
And on the 4-hour time frame, let's see if we can pull it up where from lows to highs, 5%. So it's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad, right? So let's go ahead and, we're definitely public now. Yeah. Let's go ahead and break down a couple of more. So we got ticker symbol ZM and we got ADTN. So I appreciate that. ADTN. And that was by Hassan. Huh?
Didn't write it easy. ZM.
Was that ZM? Is that what it said?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, we already did ZM. NOK. We'll do NOK since we have someone asking for NOK. ADTN, I can tell right away this has super low volume. you can tell this because as it's broken candles, you can just tell right away. So if I go on the 1 day, 1 minute chart, I should be able to see that, yeah, super low volume, right?
Wow. It's a one from?
It's not, it has very low volume. So, yeah, not a lot of people trade it. Yeah, market cap, it's under $1 billion, which is not very common for very popular stocks, right? I can see why you're paying attention to it. On the 4-hour time frame, it looks oversold, a lot of upside potential. No indication of a reversal. So if we're going to look at this just strictly on the technical aspect, I would set an alert for the break above EMA. I would set an alert for the break above SMA. It's done this before where it sells off and then recovers and then breaks and approaches previous highs and then makes new highs. So if you think that same setup is going to happen, then really allow that opportunity to present itself. And looking at it on the day chart, it actually doesn't look bad. I'm actually pretty surprised. I didn't expect it to look this good. So I like it. I like it on the technical aspect, but note that it has very low volume and that it still has to wait for confirmation. So congrats on finding that stock, but let's not be afraid to wait for that confirmation. So this is NOK, which is Nokia, right? Remember them? Nokia,
Really?
yeah. So very bullish since they've recovered. So Nokia was actually doing very, very bad, and they've slowly been actually recovering. So you can, NOK was actually, during the whole Wall Street bets thing, was actually a very popular stock that was like AMC. It was like another version of AMC. It was BlackBerry. They were literally choosing all of like the like old companies like BlackBerry, Nokia. They're choosing like weird companies like that to like really pop, and that's what you see right here. It pushed up to nearly $10.
Yeah, I was like, what is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So and it's been slowly been making a recovery, as I'm sure the demand or the hype is still somewhat there. Do I think it's there on the technical aspect? On the fundamental aspect, definitely not. So it looks like it's kind of losing its hype, it's losing its volume, it's losing its demand, and you can see the stock pulling back. I would honestly really encourage you, if you're about to invest in this, look into it on the fundamental aspect, not just on the technical aspect, because I think that this stock is actually going to return to where it was before all the hype, which is around $4 a share. So I just want you to be aware of that. Alrighty. All right, let's go ahead and break down AMC. Let's do it. How many of you guys want us to break down AMC? Yep. All right, how many have we broken down? We've done over 10. I didn't even realize it.
Having too much fun.
Oh, yeah. One of the things that you guys should know is, I had over 2,000 shares of AMC on my Webull account. I only hold 500 shares, right? So I had over $100,000 in AMC. Now I hold $25,000. I still hold some skin in the game just in case it continues to push up, but realistically, my focus is risk management, right? So if it begins to pull back, I won't hesitate to cut losses, and or I can tolerate that pullback because I have less money on the line. I hope that makes sense to you. So on the day chart, I'm going to keep it as real as I can with AMC. AMC is all technicals. There's no fundamentals. It's nothing about that. AMC at $50 a share to be valued with a market cap of $25 billion. It's even their executives have saying it's blown through every roof, right? But when there's hype, when there's demand, and when the direction is in our favor, it's the same reason I have $25,000 into a stock that probably should be worth $5, right? AMC is so bullish right now, and we're at a critical point. This is something that everyone should know. We're at a critical point at $50 a share. You know, this upcoming week will really determine if we're going to go back up to $60 to $70 if we continue this momentum, and or we have to be realistic. It could pull back. It's not saying that it will, but it could. And if it begins to trade below EMA and we break below that $45 price point, it wouldn't be much of a surprise if we pull back to $38 to $34 where we used to find the support before. Understand that this is a very common resistance level that we have struggled with in the past. So now that we are there, we're at a critical point where we're retesting it. If we break above it, it's a great step in the right direction. If we break below it, we're getting rejected once again, and it can cause a pullback. Everything is great with the momentum play until it's not. Just make sure that just as much as you anticipate the upside, that you prepare for the downside. That's all I'm here to share about AMC. If you want to hold. If you want to sell. Just make sure that you have your future self's best interest in mind. Let's go ahead and break down Virgin Galactic. So that is SPCE. We'll do 2 more. I'll let you choose the last 2. So if you are watching this, make sure you share your top stock in the live chat, and I'll have my girlfriend pick out your stock. So this is on the day chart. Virgin Galactic, one of the things that you should know is that right when they were actually going to actually launch, when they actually did launch, this is where Virgin Galactic was actually trading at. So it was at like $50 a share. So based off previous highs, that's pretty good, right?
So that's when they did?
Yeah, this is Richard Branson. He's that billionaire, right? Yeah. Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos was about to go, and Elon Musk was about to send his rocket, and then Richard Branson announced that he was going to go 9 or 11 days before Jeff Bezos. And that, yeah, it's literally like who's going to get to space first. And he announced that the stock went up, and then right after he announced, after it was at its peak, it's very smart on Richard Branson's side, he announced that they were going to sell $50 million worth of the stock to liquidate some cash, some shares, and then have the cash available to reinvest into the company. So they were able to exit up here, and now it pulled back to 25. It literally has lost 50%, over 50%. So just think about that. You do everything in preparation to launch your flight, right? So everything goes good. And then as you're at highs, you're like, hey, I'm going to cash out $50 million. That acts as a negative notion for a lot of long-term investors. It pulls back. Now it's at $25. Now you can literally, again, you can buy your shares back there. You can buy the 25 million, and as it begins to recover, you're back at the 50 million. You have 25 million cash.
Yeah.
And we're back at that support level. We normally tend to find the support right around $20 a share based off of previous lows, but we'll see. As of right now, in the 4-hour time frame, it's making lower highs and lower lows. So does it make the most sense to blindly invest right now? No.
You can set an alert.
But you can already see. I already have my alert. I follow SPCE on a weekly basis. Just like many of you guys, I'm anticipating the recovery, but we have no indication of that right now, right? Really allow that opportunity to present itself. So, all right, if you want us to break down your stock, make sure you share it in the live chat right now. And then I'll have my girlfriend pick it out for you. Yeah. Let's see. So we got Gabriel. We got Taylor.
Ooh, Starbucks.
Starbucks?
Yeah.
You guys can't win her over like that.
Oh my gosh. I see Urban. I see Pinterest.
Everyone right now on their keyboard is like, just pick one already.
UPS.
All right.
What's that?
I'll choose another 2 because I can go through these pretty quick. So we're going to do Starbucks and UPS. Remember yours.
Starbucks, UPS.
And I'm going to do DocuSign and Robinhood. All right. So we're going to do 4 total. Ready? So we got SBUX. SBUX on the 4-hour time frame. This is actually one that I'm actually personally invested in right now. Starbucks from previous, recently pulled on back. It found a support level. Well, because it's sold off. It sold off due to earnings, and it's been pulling back ever since. It was pretty oversold. And based off of where we were at, where I actually bought, and the potential for recovery, it's 10% margins. But again, it's a good quality company. On the day chart, it's more bullish than it is bearish. It's super consistent, and it's very profitable. So when it pulled back, I viewed that to be an opportunity where I can buy, and I've been slowly buying more. I would view Starbucks to be something that I wouldn't mind investing in and holding for a long period of time. Why? Because it's super bullish. It's very consistent, and it's not something that I have to turn around for a quick profit. It doesn't grow quick. It's over time, right? It's very consistent. So because of that, I'm slowly adding more to it as it indicates higher highs and higher lows. If it pulls back, I don't care. I'll buy a little bit more in smaller increments. So just know that about Starbucks. What's your other one?
UPS.
UPS, right? All right, UPS on the 4-hour time frame. On the day chart, it recently pulled on back. It's testing support levels at the SMA line. So it actually looks pretty good. from where we're at right now to previous highs. That's about 13%, good upside there. On the 4-hour time frame, you can see that it's getting more rejected than it is anything by the SMA line. So we really need to break above this. So that's around $200 a share. Once we begin to indicate signs of an uptrend, then yeah, this would definitely make sense, but we can see that UPS tends to actually do very, very well. It recently pulled on back, and this could provide a good dip buy opportunity. So if you really like UPS, then maybe you can get some skin in the game. Not too much, right? Because it could still sell off, but some skin in the game. So then when it actually begins to indicate signs of an uptrend, then you can follow up with it. If you suck with risk management, then don't buy the dip. Wait for that confirmation. I'm going to go ahead and do mine. Mine was Robinhood, which is ticker symbol HOOD. So this is on the 4-hour time frame. You can't really see, 4-hour time frame. Robinhood has been making lower lows and lower highs. When it began to trade at $40 a share, this is when I began to buy a little bit of it as it began to establish a support level. Right now I have about 800 shares. It's testing. I'm telling you this as someone that has bought in the dip on Robinhood. I don't feel like you're missing out on anything by buying it right now. Robinhood is not recovering and it's not indicating signs of an uptrend. So just because I'm buying it or just because I'm in it does not mean that you should. Once it actually begins to trade above $45 and begins to indicate signs of an uptrend, you guys know how Robinhood trades. When it gets going, it goes. But until then, it's stagnant or it's selling off. So because of that, save your money, save your day trades. I'm telling you this as someone that's invested in it. Wait for that opportunity to present itself. Be more selective, especially if you're under the PDT rule. Yes, it's cheap, but it can get cheaper. And I'm telling you this as someone that's invested in it. And the other one, yeah, DocuSign, DOCU.
You didn't remember?
So I have you. 4-hour time frame. This is actually one that I'm very happy that we're breaking down. DocuSign is oversold based off of previous lows. If we look at where it's at right now due to previous highs, that's about 15%, great upside. It's testing support levels. It doesn't have to recover. So if you like DocuSign, if you like the way that it trades, look at it on the day chart as well. You can see that it tends to be more bullish than it is bearish. Yes, it still has margin on the day chart to potentially pull on back. So this is why you need to take position size and risk management into consideration. But it's attractive. And this is why it's worth having these conversations. So if you see value in a stock, you can add it to your watch list. You can set alerts. It's not that you always just have to buy the dip blindly on any stock, but it's that you have these open-ended conversations so you know what stocks to pay attention to at what price level. So when that opportunity does present itself, you don't need to ask me, hey, Ricky, should I buy here? You already know that, hey, DocuSign has now sold off to, what was that on the day chart? It has now sold off to $245. I'm going to buy a little bit here, and if it begins to recover, I'll begin to average more into it, right? I'll begin to average up into it, and you can ride it all the way back up, and that can be your 25% trade. So, Lulu. All right, we have to do Lulu. All right, yeah, my fave. Lulu, do you guys remember this? I made a video about Lulu, and I quickly talked about it. It reported earnings, and I'm so upset. I think this is why I did not want to make the same mistake with Peloton. So you guys know with Peloton, I made over 20% on that trade, right? Watch my earlier video today if you guys haven't already. And it's because I identified Lulu to be oversold. It was cheap. And it was about to report earnings. And I made a video about it. I mean, at the end of the day, I can't predict the future, right? I didn't know that it was going to blow through the roof when it reported earnings. And Lulu had the audacity during aftermarket hours to push up 14 to 15%. And now it's very overbought. It's due for a pullback. But I hope that everyone that watched that video or even investors before were able to lock in their profits at $436 a share. And it makes sense on now why we're preparing for a little correction, maybe back down to $400. Lulu is one of few companies. Make sure you look into this. Lulu is one of few companies that has not only done well before the pandemic, that not only has done well during the pandemic, but that also did well after the pandemic. It's one of few companies that has been able to consistently dominate its market, regardless of COVID restrictions. pre-COVID, during COVID, and after COVID. It's very rare, and let's be honest, everyone loves Lulu, and they just continue and continue to blow up. I don't have any Lulu stuff. I might have purchased, I might have bought some, what is it? It's like the Lululemon pants. They're like no ball crusher. I don't know what it is, but maybe once I make a profit off of their stock, I'll consider buying some. But until then, I'm gonna hold off and until I earn it. So I really do appreciate you guys' time. I hope that you guys enjoyed this Sunday Stock Talk. I hope that you guys enjoyed my little special guest. If you guys have any stocks that you guys still want me to break down, what I do want to remind you is we do have our free Facebook group. It's absolutely for free. You can refresh your screen, and it's the first link in the description, if I'm not mistaken. It should be a free Facebook group. We have over 314,000 members worldwide. So no excuse on why you can't connect. If you don't have a Facebook, then make one. And if you don't want to make one, then that's up to you. If you want to join my live trading session, I trade live every single day at market open. That's that second link in the description. It's not free, so make sure that you guys are aware of that, but it's the private group that I work with on a daily basis. So if you like the way that I trade, if you like the way that I break things down, and you would like to work with me on a closer basis, then that is the only group that I work with on an exclusive basis, and that's that second link down below if you want to take 2 minutes to learn more about it. If you are someone that is trying to pimp out your trading setup, the fourth link or the third link down in the description, we have mouse pads, we have aluminum art, we have flags that start at only $19. And again, that is all available for you at shoptechbuds.com. I really do appreciate you guys' time. I hope that I earned your thumbs up. Please consider subscribing. I will see everyone that is part of the Learn Plan Profit team and that joins us tomorrow at Market Open for our live trading session. And until then, like always, let's make sure that we